All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Reflecting on real quick what we talked about a Thursday Night Wrestling review. We talked about Impact Wrestling. We also talked about Ring of Honor. A lot of good stuff happening right there in Ring of Honor. I'm a little sad I haven't seen Mark Briscoe come back, but the guy recently had a kid, probably on maternity leave. He's representing the championship super well. Love that guy. Definitely a huge fan. But before we move on to our next topic, I want to remind you guys to use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Just put your questions up on top so I can see it, so that you can be seen with viewers all over the world who's tuning into this podcast, wrestling fans worldwide. Worldwide? What is the title? Something new that says that? But definitely would love to hear from you guys. This podcast is, of course, from the GSMCpodcast.net, but ultimately, as a wrestling fan, as the CM Punk of podcasting. No, I'm just kidding. That's way too controversial. I'm sorry. Sorry, let's just rewind. Thank you guys. Remember to use the tips or donations. I'm just kidding. This put your questions up on top. Honestly, positive feedback really, really honestly does help the show. The negative feedback is a gift, first and foremost. I like criticism. I believe criticism will help people kind of propel or, kind of help people become better. And a lot of people nowadays, when it comes to criticism, like anything negative, they're just like, I don't want to hear it. Like, I'm the best. I'm the best podcaster. Colin Cowherd has nothing on me. What are you talking about? Like, the Busted Open podcast is not the GS. I don't think, dude, it's sports. It's sports, and we're a wrestling podcast. So, once again, would absolutely love to see you guys interact with the show. Honestly, I would love to kind of hear you guys' voices more than mine, because I feel like sometimes I'm just rambling on, just shooting some like wrestling facts all over the screen on the computer screen. So it'd be kind of cool to hear like a different take. Honestly, it's always good to hear something different. Again, the link is to GSMC, podcast.net. So, make sure you, do that. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on here. We're going to talk about WWE Smackdown. WWE Smackdown is live tonight in Mohegan Sun Arena at the KC Plaza in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Pretty cool. Before we jump into the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring qualifying matches, let's go ahead and kind of address that. This is the first SmackDown ever since the official roster lock from the WWE draft, so you can anticipate a lot of what's going to happen tonight is probably going to have a lot of stipulations heading towards Saudi Arabia, because Nick Aldis wants to set up his champions, wants an idea of, okay, like, how can I, let's just book these guys. We need these guys to have a place in our roster. So I think Nick Aldis is going to take advantage of the, Triple H as well. Next, we have Logan Paul. Logan Paul, he needs an opponent. He needs an opponent for Saudi Arabia. Probably one of these guys who are going to lose in the first round will try to step up to Logan Paul. Ultimately, Logan Paul, he's been a phenomenal champion ever since he came to the WWE. He's been the best, he was trained by AJ Styles. AJ Styles is definitely one of the best wrestlers in the industry. He had it, TNA, New Japan. He's wrestled all over the world. Definitely deserves that title as world wrestling competitor. So, definitely think we're going to find out who's going to fight Logan Paul tonight. And also Bayley. Bayley needs an opponent. She had that triple threat match with Tiffany Stratton and Naomi. Tiffany Stratton, I believe, is she in the Queen of the Ring tournament? I believe she might be. Don't quote me on that. But I know Naomi does. She has a match tonight. She has a big match tonight. And that wasn't like, play on words or anything like that. I'm not trying to be a jerk. But I mean big because like Nia Jax, like she's a tall challenge. She's a tall challenge, man. Good luck trying to fight her, Naomi, tonight. She's pissed. She's angry. She's hungry. Ready for a championship reign. So it might be a bloodbath. Might be a bloodbath tonight. But honestly, if anybody could do it, it could be Naomi, right? Feel the glow. Are we going to feel the glow tonight? Not too sure. But yeah. And next, we're going to find out who Codey Rhodes is going to face in Saudi Arabia at the Queen and the King of the Ring pay-per-view in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Right now, I feel like there's not really anybody that could really challenge him. I think they might perhaps like have like kind of like one of those matches where it's kind of like a proving ground match, where it's not really there, but it's like kind of like an unspoken thing where like maybe who knows? Maybe Montez Ford is like, you know what? D'Angelo Dawkins is competing in the King of the Ring, so why don't I try my singles sea legs a little bit? That could be it. Like I said before, it could also be a guy who loses tonight in the the competition. It could be anybody. It could be anybody. So definitely going to be excited to find out who fights Codey Rhodes, and who's going to fight him in Saudi Arabia. Next, we're going to move on. We got Paul Heyman and the debut of Tunga Loa. It didn't really go well. Paul Heyman seems like he's lost all control of the bloodline thanks that Roman Reigns is gone. He feels like, and probably this is the case, that Roman Reigns would ultimately disapprove with what's happening within the bloodline right now. And when he comes back, he's going to be mad. He's going to be mad. He's going to want Solo Sikoa's head, causing kind of like a wedge in between the bloodline, working for that, Civil War bloodline storyline that would love to see where Roman Reigns goes and he tries to, get the old school bloodline. Now you have this new young bloodline. You have Tama Tonga, Solo Sikoa, and you have Tangaloa. Still in the wakes, you see Jacob Fatu, but ultimately he hasn't made his debut in WWE yet. We'll get into that later, as of why. But honestly, this is cool. This is cool the way they're setting this up slowly, building blocks after building blocks. That's kind of what you need to do. And a lot of the problems that was Vince McMahon, and that was, during his reign, and he would just butt into the creative writing and stuff like that. And sometimes things would just like shoot you in the face and you would have to accept it. And you're like, okay. But then as a wrestling fan, you're like, wait, like, how did we get to this? How did we get to this, match stipulation? Or how did we get to this main event? Sometimes, you just build it up, build it up, build it up. Look at what happened with Codey Rhodes. It took 2 WrestleManias, 2 Royal Rumbles, but ultimately he finished his story. And honestly, it was probably one of the best wrestling stories in all of professional wrestling. So, definitely still have faith with Paulovec. So, go ahead and jumping on into this King of the Ring. We have Randy Orton against AJ Styles. Honestly, I feel both competitors don't really need this, and I feel like this competition isn't really for them. But um, I feel like maybe the loser might fight Logan Paul or Cody Rhodes. So honestly, I could see. I'm going to see Randy Orton win. I pick Randy Orton. I think, you put the seasoned veteran in the second round to fight against the young guy. So love AJ Styles. Definitely love AJ Styles. He had an amazing match with Cody Rhodes at Backlash in France. That's something that can't be ignored. So I don't know. Maybe he tries to challenge Cody again. Like, we don't know. That obviously they tore the roof off in Backlash. So anything could happen. I would love to see that match as well. Next, we have D'Angelo Dawkins. D'Angelo Dawkins has assumed the spot from Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley was injured training this week, so he's gonna fight Tama Tonga. Ultimately, I feel like both of these competitors aren't going to win the King of the Ring. So honestly, I feel like this is kind of like building toward like the Bloodline versus the Pride kind of storyline a little bit. So I don't know. I feel like that would be pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. And then we have Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin takes on Carmelo Hayes. I kind of wish that they would have separated these guys because both of them are coming up from NXT. Or, you also see Baron Corbin making his way back into the roster. And I'm not trying to, be a little like, I don't know how to explain it, but like ultimately you kind of need to take this thing, Baron Corbin coming back, slowly. You need to take it slowly. You need to take it, one step at a time because this guy was once on the WWE roster. People saw that. People understand that he went back. He went to NXT, and I just really hope that they don't destroy his bookings because ultimately WWE created under the Vince McMahon era. I guess there was a falling out between Vince and Baron, which ultimately caused Baron to lose his Money in the Bank challenge when he like cashed in. And it was just nasty. It was nasty. Basura. But, hopefully they do it right. Hopefully they do it right by Baron Corbin. I like that he's kind of like assumed this role as the lone wolf. That should have probably stuck longer than this money, this Happy Corbin. And King Corbin was cool. And then you had corporate Corbin, where he was the general. Like, it's just crazy. This guy's a former like boxing, he's like a master. Like he's a Golden Gloves winner. he has a lot of, he played football before. So this guy, when he came to WWE, I felt like maybe he wasn't really expecting this turn. But hopefully Paul Levesque rejuvenates his career, which is possible. Definitely would be possible. I would love to see Baron Corbin hold a title. It'd be cool to see him fight Logan Paul in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. That'd be badass. That'd be super badass. Honestly, I can't really give you guys a winner of this match because both these guys really honestly need this. But based on experience, I feel like I think Corbin's gonna win. I think Corbin's gonna win, although Hayes is very, very, very impressive. And it wouldn't surprise me if he does move on to the next round. But next, we have the Queen of the Ring. Queen of the Ring, we have our first match. We have Bianca Belair against Candice LeRae. Not really much, going into this that much. Belair is going to win. She's going to move on. Next, we have Jade Cargill against Piper Niven. This is a tricky one because she's huge. And I don't mean like huge, huge. I mean like she's very strong. She's very strong. She's very like, her physicality is unmatched and it's crazy. It's crazy. Like she's a powerhouse. Definitely a powerhouse that should be recognized. It'd be nice to see Piper Niven move on, but maybe this is what they're trying to do to kind of build up a wedge in between Jade and Belair. Maybe they fight in the finals as the WWE Women's World Tag Team Champions against each other, the Queen of the Ring. And then like whoever wins, like whoever loses turns heel, be like, I don't want these championships. You're not my tag team partner. And then the titles go vacant, and then they have like a tournament or like just something that'll like crown our new WWE World Women's Tag Team title. I think that'd be pretty dope if that's what they're trying to do, for these women. I'm for it. But if not, you got to have a purpose. You always got to serve a purpose. Next, we have Naomi and Nia Jax. We kind of talked about this a little earlier, that Naomi has her hands full with the irresistible force. Nia Jax. Nia Jax, she's, like I said, she's pissed, she's angry, she's competitive. She wants to cement her legacy in WWE. And I believe she does deserve something better. I definitely think Nia Jax, but in the past with WWE, with the kind of like the giants, like the Big Show, you have Braun Strowman, and I believe like sometimes even Keith Lee. Like sometimes it's hard to book them in matches because how massive they are. And I mean that like I'm not trying to be like I'm not trying to be a jerk. Their physicality, they're larger than life. They're larger than life. They're great competitors, but like when you kind of see big guys like that in the ring, or um, you as a wrestling fan, you can kind of see it and you're like, man, like how can anybody beat those guys? And when somebody does beat them, you kind of be like, man, why did they let? It's like you kind of see through the bull spit and stuff like that. Bookings when it comes to bigger athletes, it's hard. It's hard, especially in the WWE, especially with these superstars, because just because they're bigger doesn't necessarily mean that they're slower. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're not, ready to perform in ring moves or capabilities or something like that. Ultimately, you're a wrestler. You're out there trying to get yours, and I definitely understand where these wrestlers come from. But I would love to see Nia Jax win this whole thing. So I'm gonna say Nia Jax moves on to the Queen of the Ring round 2 to fight. I don't know who she's gonna fight. It'd be interesting to kind of see her and Belair go at it. But sometimes you can't always get what you want. You can. I'm just kidding. But so next we have WWE is booming. We're gonna get into this segment where WWE's absolute powerhouse in entertainment all over the world. We're gonna talk as of why, as of kind of like where WWE is at right now. So hey, don't go anywhere.